LeBron James and Dwyane Wade could have teamed up with Derrick Rose in 2010. Would the Chicago Bulls have become a dynasty to the rival Michael Jordan-led Bulls team of 1990s, or would they have been a failed attempt at a super team? Like this team, the New York Knicks, assembled in 2010, or would they have fallen somewhere in between? According to Chicago Bulls insider Vincent Goodwill of CSN Chicago, Wade and LeBron planned to join the Bulls in 2010 until Chris Bosh decided to join Miami Heat. Wade added that if the Bulls have traded Lou Dang and cap clearing move that would have netted them the 8th overall pick, things would have been different. As well, that move could have ended up in Bulls acquiring Joe Johnson in free agency as well. Considering the 2010-2011 Chicago Bulls went 62-20 without James Wade or Joe Johnson, as Rose won the 2010-11 MVP award. As a Bulls fan, a Bulls team with LeBron, Wade, Johnson, and Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah would have definitely been dominant. They were the chance for the Chicago Bulls to draft Paul George and other players who had star potential in the 2010 NBA draft and were available with the 8th overall pick. There's no doubt if they drafted a player like George, they would have been better than Miami Heat. Considering that we know experienced veterans would be willing to sign minimum deals as they chased the ring and joined the bench with George, Kyle Korver, Taj Gibson, and James Johnson. With the level of talent on the roster, they should have been more dominant than Chicago Bulls team in the 1990s. On the court, James would have been playing in Dang's place while Johnson took the place of Carlos Boozer. Wade would have taken the place of Keith Borgans. In theory, the Bulls would have had the same spacing without both Wade and Boozer's ability to be deadly from mid-range and Joe Johnson and Borgan accuracy from the arc. Dang shoots 33.3% from three-point range of his career. James shot 34.2% from three-point range of his career. Still, the trio of Rose, Wade, and James would have lacked three-point shooting. Nevertheless, they would have had the strength, athleticism, mid-range accuracy, passing to allow them to be dominant in transition or in the pick and roll. In many ways, even without the threat of a three-point shot, the Bulls team would have been ahead of their time for a personal fit of motion-heavy offense and the ability to switch 1 to 4 with ease. Noah would have been interest piece of the team because of rim protection abilities that would provide a safe net for the Bulls. Definitely a passing ability that would have been made the Bulls even harder to guard. Imagine mixing fly def machine of LeBron James era Miami Heat and the high wire act of Rose and San Antonio Spurs like passing. Without having the best player on the court night in and night out, Rose may have been able to prevent himself from being injured without having to be the only high-flying guard. Wade has been able to be better preserve his body. Those are other factors to be considered. Yes, Tim Thibodeau is notorious for demanding perhaps too much of his players physically, but with James on the roster and a chance to be perennial contenders, he could have smartly softened his position on the stance of Greg Popovich level. So how long would the Chicago Bulls dominate? They would certainly be kings of the East and make it to as many finals as long as James decides to stay with the Windy City. Bosh may have still signed with the Heat, while Boozer could have strengthened the roster of the Boston Celtics. Nevertheless, was nothing in the way of the Chicago Bulls team. they would likely to be facing Los Angeles Clippers team with their current big three, plus Dang and the Oklahoma City Thunder with Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. Or Steve Kerr's Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals. Knowing what we know now, while Clippers would have been a very tough out in the NBA Finals, James and Wade would have dominated as scorers. Going head-to-head with Chris Paul at MVP level, roles have been dominant as well. The Thunder may have still been defeated handily because of their youth. The Warriors would have had a lot of trouble defending rim protection, the three-headed monster of Rose, Wade, and James, while Bulls had less trouble guarding them with the athleticism they have on the perimeter. Just think, there may have never been a meltdown against the Dallas Mavericks, who may have lost against the Clippers for James. James could also have simply played better with a more aggressive coach and personnel on this team. But if the Bulls started a dynasty, they may never have been redemption in Cleveland ever. What happens to James' killer instinct? Is it a question? Without the luxury of being surrounded by shooters, does James develop a post-game or find another blueprint to success? If LeBron James teamed up with Derrick Rose in 2010, that would be a great team. I think that would be better than that. This team would be better than him going to Miami, because if LeBron in 2011 he had that meltdown series against the Mavericks, it wasn't that good, and Derrick Rose would have picked up the load even if LeBron had a bad series, because LeBron didn't really. They could have won that series. They barely lost, but they could have won that series. Derrick Rose hopefully wouldn't have got injured because they have so many superstars around them. Because Derrick Rose, when he was on the Bulls, when he was good, he was by himself, and they still forgot a way to win. It was only him and a couple role players like Joakim Noah, Boozer, whatever. But this team would have definitely been a dynasty, and they would have won at least 4 championships to me. It would have kept on going, and LeBron probably would have stayed on the Chicago Bulls and never went back to Cleveland. What you guys think of this?